Good morning, everyone. Paul from Paul's Passing Thoughts and Tank Ministries. Just getting ready to go out and do a little bit of yard work today, and wanted to do this quick video. These modern technologies with these little short videos you can do are really efficient for somebody who is as busy as I am. We have written and espoused on the Protestant gospel of justification by faith for, 15 years now. Something like that, and we've made our case. We continually state that we do not believe that born-again Christians still need to be saved. Okay? And so, in regard to the passing of John MacArthur Jr., and all of the things that are being said and all the things that are being going on with his memorial service and everything, and I did write one article on it, but a lot of the things that I see, we've written about so much. So, however, I stumbled upon some of the testimonies that were at the memorial service, clips on Twitter, and of course John Piper gave a eulogy at his memorial that I have not listened to, because John Piper to me is he's insufferable. And I had no interest to listen to his drivel whatsoever. However, though, I did stumble on a eulogy by one of John MacArthur's sons, and Danny, I believe, and I could be incorrect about that name, but I'm compelled to comment on it. So let's listen to it real quick, okay? And then I'll comment on it. And I also have a little bit to say about the fact that John Piper was a keynote speaker of sorts at MacArthur's memorial, which is very interesting. So, let's listen to this clip really quick, and then I'll comment.
His last words to me were, "Son, be faithful." He didn't say write a book. He didn't say be the keynote speaker at a conference. He said, be faithful. What a model. He then went on to say to me, whispering, barely could talk, "Death, where is your sting? I feel no sting. Grace has overpowered my sinful heart." What a gift, what a gift. Grace is the greatest power because it pushes sin away. It's all of grace. I am unworthy. I've lived to see my children's children, and I pray that you all will finish well.
Okay, well, there you have it. And of course, our argument has been all along that, and MacArthur claimed to be a biblicist, this, that, and the other. The only huge problem here is that biblically speaking, using our biblical words, okay, a sinner is by biblical definition an unregenerate person. And by the way, Andy Young has had some really great online conversations with people in regard to this. He's just kind of been, I don't want to use the word trolling people that on Twitter that are continually espousing, this justification by faith stuff, and they're biblical contradictions. Andy's had some really great conversations with people of late online, really good stuff. But we reject the Martin Luther thing of simultaneous saint and sinner. Does the Bible ever say that we are simultaneously unregenerate and saved or born again? And by the way, as I've elaborated on several teachings, how the excuse me, how the Protestant soteriology redefines the biblical new birth. Okay? And so you can go to Paul's Passing Thoughts and do a keyword search on that, and read several articles that I've written on that. But you got to understand that every time in Protestantism that the word grace is used, that's a replacement word for salvation that nuances what Protestantism really believes about salvation. Okay? And I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it, that if salvation is a process, as Phil Johnson has stated many times, and we as human beings are alive in that process, work salvation is completely unavoidable. And I could get into the fact of how Protestant makes a distinction between faith works and work works. Okay? It's all right to do these works to maintain your salvation because they're faith works, and those don't count as works. Those rituals, like the Lord's table and tithing and sitting under the gospel and all this stuff, those are faith works that don't count as works. No, you're working. Okay? So it's a problem. It's a huge problem. John Piper was there. And, was like one of the focal people that spoke at his memorial, strongly endorsed by MacArthur, birds of the feather together since the early 90s. And John Piper has clearly stated on since his Romans series in 1992 that Christians still need to be saved. All right. And another thing that these people continually state is that as Christians, we're supposedly still under the law. Now, any child knows what the Bible states about being under law versus being under grace. Okay? And under grace doesn't mean there isn't any law, but there is love. I mean, you know, the law is now our instruction for loving God and others aggressively with no fear of condemnation, right? So at any rate, I can cite Phil Johnson again, that, quote, and I quote, Christians are still under the righteous demands of the law. Okay? So, I also remember going to a funeral of a fellow Protestant pastor some years ago. And again, we have the son who got up and did a eulogy, and he started the eulogy like this. I just want to begin by saying that my father was a wicked sinner. Okay. All right. And in essence, this is the same kind of testimony we get at MacArthur's memorial by his son. So, Protestantism defines salvation as that of an unregenerate person. It's just a blatant, overt, anti-gospel, false gospel. Okay? This isn't a complicated argument. The error is absolutely elementary. All right? Pretty crazy. So with that being said, do I think that John MacArthur is not even saved? No, I don't believe that at all. I don't think, I have come to believe that God does not send people to hell for being confused. And MacArthur undoubtedly was the most one of the most confused Protestant leader of our age. Okay? I mean, he criticized at times and used the term confused Calvinist. He was really the epitome of a confused Calvinist. And again, it's a shame. I think that the one thing that maybe he didn't understand is that due to his early ministry and what he had accomplished, I mean, you know, the father of practical application of the Bible, I think, in our age, that's how his ministry started out. And I think that possible legacy, had it continued, would have been incredible. But I think it was squandered. I think he was led astray by Michael Horton and John Piper and others, and that's that. I don't think that he will receive his full reward. I believe that when I gave my life to Christ in 1982, 1983, somewhere around there, that I was definitely genuinely born again. Okay? And unfortunately, I think after that, unfortunately, church happened, but it was inevitable that church was going to happen. I mean, that it's just, church is just so ingrained into Western culture, it's unavoidable. Anybody who sets out to pursue God is, for the most part, gonna end up in church, save a few people. I want to remind everybody how strongly I feel about the fact is no, you can love God and His Son Jesus Christ and be in good standing with God and His Son Jesus Christ and have fellowship with the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit without church. Okay? And lots of people who communicate with our ministry understand that and are perfectly comfortable with that. I think the problem with realizing that and those who believe in the home fellowship and true ecclesia, fellowship is an issue with us that we don't take seriously enough. That is, fellowshipping with other people that are like-minded. The difficulty in that is this whole idea, though a lot of Protestants will deny it intellectually, functionally, they believe deep down if you don't go to church, you're not saved. Which, if you do the math on that, they believe you need the institutional church to get to heaven. Which, okay, what's the difference between that and Catholicism? Really nothing. And as we know, historically, Protestantism came out of Catholicism. And we also know that Luther and Calvin never rejected the Catholic Church and never left the Catholic Church. One of the primary doctors of grace and noted theologian of Protestantism is St. Augustine, who was a Catholic through and through, a doctor of grace and of Catholicism. So Protestantism is just another angle on progressive justification is all it is. Okay? Those are my thoughts, and normally I wouldn't take time out to do a video on this, but like I said, I saw that clip, and I thought, I would once again put out our view of this, and you can comment on this video, and thanks for watching, and have a great day. Go forth loving God and others aggressively with no fear of condemnation. Have a great day.